Hello world! Welcome back to another Python HackerRank challenge video. In this video, we're going to be solving the Python if-else challenge. Let's get started. Given an integer n, perform the following conditional actions. Okay, if n is odd, print weird. If n is even and in the inclusive range of 2 to 5, print not weird. If n is even and in the inclusive range of 6 to 20, print weird. If n is even and greater than 20, print not weird. And our input format will be a single line containing a positive integer n. And here's our constraints. Okay, you know the usual. If we can, let's take care of our constraints first. So we're obviously going to say need if n not in range of 1 to 101, right? Of course. Then we're going to print n must be inclusively between 1 and 100. All right, cool. So that's it for our that's it for our constraint. So let's get into the meat of it, right? Basically, these tasks give us these bullet points, and each of these bullet points is a separate if condition that we need to target, right? So let's begin with the first one. So how do we calculate if n is odd? Well, let's go ahead and start the base of our if condition. If n, and what we're going to do is check to see if we divide n by 2 and the remainder is 0, then we know it's even, right? However, if it's not equal to 0, then it's not even. So if we do n mod 2 is not equal to 0, then we can print weird, right? What modulo does, right, is that, you divide the number, right? You divide the two operands, the first operand by the second operand, and then you get the remainder, if there is one, after dividing them. So if you did 3 divided by 2, right, you would get a remainder of 1, right? Because 2 times 1 plus 1, right, which is the remainder, is 3. There you go. So let's move on to the next bullet. So now we're going to do an else if, right, or elif statement, right? Because we want to, if our first condition doesn't pass, we want to go into this next condition, right? If n is even and in the inclusive range of 2 to 5, print not weird. So how do we do this? Well, it's the same thing as we did before. If n mod 2, but this time we do is equal to 0, right? Because that's going to give us an even number. But we also have another conditional as well, right? We have and in the inclusive range of 2 to 5. So we need to do and in range of 2 to 6, of course, because it's 1 minus the second parameter of the range function. Then we do print not weird. Then we do another elif, right, for the next statement, elif n mod 2, right, because it again is saying if n is even and, is equal to 0, and n in range of 6 to 20, print weird. All right, so we could do another elif condition for this last one, but we really don't need to, right? You would think if we didn't have this conditional up here limiting what our n values could be, then yes, we would need an elif to kind of limit our values down. But if n is even and greater than 20, print not weird, right? So our first 3 conditions cover all the numbers essentially from 1 to 20, right? Essentially, right? However, this last one, if n is even and greater than 20, print not weird, we don't need to write an elif. We can just put it into a final else condition because it's already all our numbers are pretty much covered by the this condition is already fulfilled because these conditions limit all the way, or pretty much cover our values from 0 to 20. Or, sorry, 1 to 20. I know that was a bit confusing, but it'll make sense in a second. So we'll just do our else, and we'll just print not weird. So just to reiterate, right? We limited our in values from 1 to 101. All our odd numbers are taken care of. All of our even numbers from 2 to 5 and 6 to 20 are also taken care of, right? They all have conditions set apart for them. If they don't have conditions set apart for them, then they're odd, right? Then everything that is greater than 20 is going to be either odd, right? So it's going to fulfill the first condition, or it's going to be even and greater than 20, which fulfills the final condition. That's why we don't need another elif, because our else will fulfill the other numbers that aren't covered in our range. So let's go ahead and run it. Hopefully no errors while I was typing that out. Okay, cool. So that worked. So if we submit the code and see our final test results, they all passed. Awesome. Cool. All right. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you learned a little bit more in-depth view of how if, elif, and else work together. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, check out our Patreon and Discord server in the links in the description box down below. If you have any comments, leave them in the comments section down below, and we'll see you in the next video. This is Almond Milk signing out.